You wake up, surrounded by a crew on a ship in the middle of space. You don't know how you got there. All you know is that you have 3 days to meet the profit quota of 130 credits. You travel from moon to moon, venturing into old abandoned facilities, collecting scrap to sell to the company. Why does it need this tattered metal sheet? Why is this rubber duck worth so much? It doesn't matter. If the company wants it, the company gets it. You barely get by the first quota after risking your life against the solar system's deadliest monsters just to get that one extra piece of scrap. And then you have to do it again, but this time the quota is higher, and higher, and higher, and every time you have to venture deeper, face scarier monsters, and travel to more dangerous moons. You better make sure you hit quota, or else. This is Lethal Company. It's a multiplayer co-op horror game that exploded in late 2023.
What'd you say, little man?
It's a great game and it's hilarious, but that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I'm here to talk about the economy. I'm going to be analyzing how resources are produced, distributed, and traded, and talk about the economic laws that guide your actions in the game. So first of all, what type of economy do we see in Lethal Company? Well, this system is definitely some type of command economy. A command economy involves one central authority, usually the government, that assigns jobs, sets prices, and determines incomes. The central authority in this case is the company. You're forced to do this job by the company, every purchasable tool and item is provided by the company, and prices and quotas are set by the company. The best match I found to this is feudalism. Feudalism is a hierarchical system, typically going from royalty at the top to peasants at the bottom. Higher class citizens order and protect lower class citizens, and in exchange, lower class citizens produce resources for higher class citizens. There appears to only be two classes in Lethal Company, the crew and the company. The crew has to collect scrap to give to the company, and in exchange, the company provides credits to purchase necessary items and decides not to kill the crew. How generous. Let's get to the main gameplay loop. There is clearly a scarcity of resources as the company needs to send out specialized teams to collect scrap and bring it back. Depending on what moon you land on, somewhere around 10 to 40 items will spawn inside the facility for you to collect, with varying values. It's usually pretty easy to get about half of the items, but the more you collect, the deeper into the facility you have to go to collect the remaining items, and the less likely you are to put in the effort to get those items. This perfectly displays the law of diminishing returns. Although, as the law of supply states, you are more likely to produce when the price of something is high. So if the last item left in the facility is an 8 credit hairbrush, you might as well leave it. But if the last item left is a 200 credit gold bar, you're probably going to try to bring that back even if it's surrounded by monsters. In order to maximize profits in Lethal Company, you're going to have to take advantage of comparative advantage. This is the idea that more can be produced if each person does a job that they are best at. If you have a teammate who always gets lost or dies to monsters, they're probably better off staying on the ship terminal and relaying information to the other players. You also want to split up inside the facility to cover as much ground as possible in the limited amount of time in the day. As the day goes on, more monsters spawn and the moon becomes more and more dangerous. Towards the end, you have to consider the opportunity cost and make a cost-benefit analysis about whether to continue further for more scrap or play it safe and leave with what you have. An opportunity cost is simply the time, effort, or risk required to do something, and a cost-benefit analysis is when you weigh your options and choose the most favorable one. It's usually a pretty good idea to send in a couple crew members at the very end of the day, because as long as at least one person survives on the ship, you won't lose that much. But if you lose all of your crew, you lose all of the scrap you've been collecting for the entire run, which makes it almost impossible to reach the next quota. Once your 3 days have passed, you have to land on the company building and sell all of your scrap to the company. If you know what you're doing, you can pretty easily get a huge surplus of scrap and only sell a little bit of it to meet quota. By saving up extra scrap, you can make it much easier to meet future quotas. After selling, you also have the option to buy tools to make your future expeditions easier. It's clear that the company has taken an economics class because they take full advantage of the law of demand. This states that you are more likely to buy something the lower the prices. The company has sales left and right, ranging from about 10% to 80% off. It's hard to turn down a jetpack when it only costs 180 credits. You're probably going to want to get a few at that price, but because of the law of diminishing marginal utility, every jetpack you get is going to feel less and less valuable, and eventually it's not going to feel worth it to buy another one even at a huge discount. So that's the main gameplay loop. Land on moons, collect scrap, sell scrap, buy items, repeat. The quotas get higher, the moons get harder, and eventually the surplus of scrap diminishes until one final quota when it turns into a shortage. Supply is lower than demand, and the company, unsatisfied with your work, ejects you into the emptiness of space.
As you have not met the profit quota, your performance has been deemed below standard. Welcome to
Low the slow turnout.
process.
Rip. Rip, true.
Alright.